Hello, welcome back to Sorare Assist. Got some more scouting to go through today, guys, so make sure you stick around. If you do like this video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, sign up using the link below. You'll get a free limited card and also get to draft your common teams. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook and check out my website, sorareassist.com. And you can also support this content now, guys, for just 99p by clicking that join button below. Okay then, let's get on with today's scouting. So I'm going to be scouting the Netherlands Eredivisie today, guys. So let's get stuck in with the first player I've gone for. So that first player is a youngster. He's only 22. He plays for Men, who just escaped relegation, actually. As you can see, the 15th place on 28 points. So they narrowly escaped relegation on goal difference. But Romani was one of their better players. He has got a contract until the end of the current season, so I don't know if he's going to be signing a new contract with them or moving on. He is a forward on Sorare. As you can see, he's around 277 at the minute for his limited, around 55 for his rare card, which isn't too bad really for a forward. And if we have a look down here, we can see that he's got a few decent scores. In his last game, he actually scored a hat-trick in this match against Heerenveen away. He scored all the goals for Men. Although it has to be said, a couple of the goals looked pretty lucky. One seemed to come off his back, and the other one was a weird deflection into the goal. But nevertheless, he still scores a hat-trick in this game, and that got the victory for Men and probably kept him out of that relegation zone. And he got the max 100 in this game as well, as you can see. So he's only 22, remember. He has got some previous decent scores as well. And he has been showing some decent form recently with some good goals and plenty of shots per game as well. And some good pass numbers really, some decent pass numbers in some games. And this season he's actually scored 10 goals for Men. And he's also got 1 assist as well, averaging 1.6 shots per game. So he's really one of the key players here for keeping Men out of the relegation zone. And considering he's playing for one of the teams that was nearly relegated, I think 10 goals in this season is a pretty good outlay. So the next player I've gone for is Sorare Assist of Volendam. Volendam are currently 14th in the table, so they're another team that escaped relegation. But nevertheless, Etting has had a pretty good outlay for the team this season. He's only 25. He's got a contract with them until 2024 as well. Going from £4 for his limited and around 56 for his rare card. And if we have a look at the recent games, he's been on really good form for them recently. I think he did sign from, he signed from Huddersfield, as you can see here. So that was around May 2022 that he signed for them after the championship season. And as you can see, he's not been doing too bad really, getting a few assists in there. His AA game's not too bad either. He's looking pretty good. And he actually got an assist in this final game of the season for Volendam. And this assist come from a corner. So he was on corners, so that's probably why he got a few of these assists here. But overall, he's not a bad player really. Maybe one to consider if he can move to a better team. Looking at his stats this season then, as I say, he is on corners for Volendam. He's played 30 appearances for them, 3 goals, and also 9 assists, which is absolutely fantastic. His pass numbers could probably be a little bit better and the accuracy, but aside from that, he's done pretty well. He's more of a creative player, getting the assists and chipping in with some goals as well. As you can see, his form has really spiked as well since his transfer here from Huddersfield. So he's doing much better in the Dutch league than he was in the Championship. So it looks a pretty good option really, especially if you can get a different move to a different club, one that's better than Volendam. Next up we've got Tajani Ranjders, probably totally mispronounced that name, so apologies there. He's 24, he's got some absolutely fantastic averages you can see here. He's also got a very long contract with AZ as well until 2027. His prices are not looking too bad really for a midfielder with these sorts of numbers, so he's looking a potential good pick. He has got a few hundred scores in there as well in the mix, as you can see. Some decent numbers as well. Seems to play better when he is in this central defensive midfield position, as you can see. Does seem to be getting better scores there. That's probably due to him maybe playing in a more defensive role, getting those tackles and interceptions and stats like that. So this season, the 24-year-old has started 30 for AZ. He's been in 5 Team of the Weeks actually on SofaScore. 3 goals and 5 assists this season. 2.2 shots per game, but most of them have been outside the box, which is why he's only getting about 0.7 on target. He's also created 10 big chances this season and 1.8 key passes per game, which is absolutely fantastic. His pass numbers are really looking impressive as well, 49 on average and 88% accuracy. 1.7 interceptions is looking good, and the 1.1 tackles per game. So the interceptions is probably what's racking him up those points, and the tackles when he is in that more defensive position. Just have a look at a couple of the stats in the recent Eredivisie games. We see some really good numbers here. Look at this game here. 71 accurate passes, 97% accuracy. 4 key passes in this game as well. And he's also winning a good number of duels there. This game, another high pass rate, 80 accurate passes. 2 key passes as well there. And in this game here, also 62 passes, 91 pass accuracy. So as you can see, this guy has got a really good eye for a pass, getting plenty of accurate passes, and I think he's looking a really good option there for your Sorare teams. Next up, we've got Sidney van Hooijdonk for Heerenveen. He's only 23, this guy as well, and he's looking really impressive and looking pretty cheap at the moment. So he's going for around 10 for his limited at the moment and 115 for his rare, which I think is looking pretty good. He's a forward, of course, and a Dutch nationality. Now, if we look at his recent games, as you can see, he's been absolutely blistering form recently for Heerenveen, with plenty of goals, including 2 goals in his last game against Imen. So he really was on form towards the end of the season for Heerenveen. Now, he didn't do that well to start off with. He had a bit of a quiet spell here, as you can see. He did score a hat-trick here, though, early on in the season against Vitesse. And he has been scoring pretty well generally for a young player. And he's really found his form and feet in the last few games, as you can see. Scoring 8 goals in 6 appearances. Overall this season, though, he's had a really good season for Heerenveen on loan. 15 goals in 26 starts. He's also assisted 1 goal as well. He's averaging 2.6 shots per game and 1.1 shots on target per game. Now that accuracy is looking pretty impressive. His pass numbers are not that great though. He is all about the goals. So he will need those goals to get those high scores on Sorare. There's also an under-21 international for the Netherlands. As you can see here, he's played a couple of recent games for them. So he does look to have a potentially bright future, this guy. But he is currently on loan from Bologna as well. That is something to note. So he is due to return to them at the end of the season. Now, I think the best move for Van Hooijdonk is probably to get a move away back to the Netherlands division potentially, or to an easier league than the Italian league, I would say, for him to really flourish. So it's a bit of a gamble potentially, this one, depending on what his future is at Bologna. But overall, I think he's looking a pretty good punt at these sort of prices for a young player who's got under 23 eligibility as well until July 2024. So next up, we've got Sebastian Szymanski, who is of course currently at Feyenoord. Now he is currently on loan from Dynamo Moscow with all the goings on that's happening in Russia at the moment. So it looks like he's going to be returning to Dynamo Moscow potentially. Now, I don't know if Feyenoord are after retaining his services, but he's had a pretty good season for them really. Played quite a lot of the games, started out quite a lot of the games for Feyenoord. He's a really good player, really good young talent as well. So we'll see what happens to him next season. But he's certainly had a decent season for Feyenoord. As I say, he's only 23 as a midfielder on Sorare as well. Looking fairly cheap, these prices, considering his price when he was at Dynamo Moscow. And we can see from his scores as well that he's got some really good scores here, including a goal in his last game against Utrecht. He actually scored the first goal in this game. And he has been chipping in with some goals and assists throughout the season really for Feyenoord. He's not always been a permanent starter and he's not always been playing 90 minutes as well. So that's probably affected his form a little bit. He's of course still a Polish international. I think he's a really good prospect for the future. And maybe returning to Russia and playing again at Dynamo Moscow wouldn't be the worst thing for Sorare managers, any owner of his card, because his probably form is likely to get better at Dynamo Moscow. If we look at his scores when he was in the Russian Premier League, as you can see, he was playing absolutely fantastic. But whenever he wants to go back there and stay there, is probably a different story. He does want to probably move to a higher calibre of football, but we'll see what happens there. But he is definitely a player worth mentioning. This season for Feyenoord, he's started 20 games, 25 appearances in all. As I say, he's not playing a full 90 minutes generally, with 65 on average. Scored 8 goals and 4 assists, which is a really good outlay for a midfielder. His passing numbers could be a lot better, just 17 on average, which is really poor. It was much more when he was in the Dynamo Moscow team. 1.6 key passes per game and 5 accurate passes as well. Overall though, he's going to need those goals and assists if he is continuing to play at Feyenoord, but I don't think he's going to be shy of them playing for a top team. But we'll see what happens next season. Like I say, he is due to go back on loan to Dynamo Moscow. Next up, we've got a player from AZ, and that is Pantelis Hatsiadakos. He's only 26, got a contract till 2024 with AZ. Got some pretty decent average numbers here. Probably a good one for the capped 70 modes or the capped 240 mode. Looking really cheap as well at the moment. And if we look at his scores, as you can see, he is capable of these peak scores and capable of some 60s and 70s. That's why it's probably best for the cap mode, the cap 270 over the cap 240, I would say. But he's got some really good average AAs here as well. As you can see in these last 3 games, he's got some fantastic AA scores here. So I think he's looking at a pretty decent punt here for the capped modes. And he is a Greece international as well. As you can see here, he's played the recent games against Northern Ireland and Cyprus. So he's also got that international utility. This season he's started 30 games for AZ. He's got some good pass numbers as well, 47 on average, 86% accuracy, which is really good. He's also chipped in with 4 assists as well. And he's also chipped in with some clearances and tackles. And this is where potentially most of his points are coming from, those passes, tackles and interceptions. So he's looking at another good choice for the capped 240 or 270 mode. Next up, we've got Jill Smell of 20. He's only 25. As you can see, he's got some absolutely fantastic scores for 20. He's got a contract with them until 2024 as well. His prices are looking really good at the moment. He is a defender as well on Sorare. You can see some really good peak scores here. He's also got a number of 100 scores, which is probably going to bring his average up. He's also got some 80s as well, so it's no fluke that he has got these peak scores here. Some really good performances, including an assist in the game here against Sparta Rotterdam in a 3-3 draw. He's also got 3 assists in this game as well against Cambuur. So as you can see, some really good numbers here for this defender who plays majority of his games at left back. This season he's actually started 30 games for 20, so he's been ever present in their team. 1 goal and 9 assists, so you can see he's a really attacking fullback. See from his heat map as well, he likes to get further up the pitch. Does take some corners as well for 20. He's got 46 average passes per game as well, which is brilliant, and he's created 14 big chances, as highlighted by his attacking style of play. 2 key passes per game as well also confirms this. He's also chipping in defensively though, of course, with his defensive duties still needed. 1.2 interceptions, 2.0 tackles per game and 1 clearance per game. So this guy has been really consistent on the surface scoring rating as well, as you can see here from this graph. Being ever present, ever consistent, looking a really, really good pick here, guys. So he's certainly one to consider, especially if these scores continue, which I can't see why they won't. If we look at all his scores and when he has started, you can see a pretty consistent graph here. And he is now ever present in the 20 team. Next up, we've got Luke de Jong of PSV. He's still only 32, that's pretty young really, especially when you're playing in the Dutch league. He's got a contract with them until 2025 as well, so he's playing for a top side in one of the leagues that's most known for goals. So I think he's going to be getting plenty of goals while at PSV. He's done it previously when he was at the club, and now he's back there after signing in the summer. His price is looking really good to me as well. Now if we look at his scores, we can see that he's getting some really good scores. Now there is something, the caveat here, he's not really getting any AA scores, so he's going to need those goals and assists, those decisive actions to get these higher scores here. So that is probably a negative, but as we can see, he is certainly capable of banging in the goals for PSV. He was even in and around the Netherlands squad as well here, as you can see, during the World Cup. He was mostly on the bench, but was still making that squad of very talented Dutch players. But like I say, when he is playing, he is generally getting the goals and assists. So he's going to get you these 60s and 70s. He's Not very often he's going to get you the 90 or 80s, but he is going to get you those 60 scores, which is generally what you need to get amongst the prizes. This season for PSV, he started 19 games, 20 appearances in total, 12 goals, 2.8 shots on per game, and 1.4 shots on target per game. He's also got 3 assists as well, and as I say, the other stats are not really looking that impressive. He is all about banging away the goals, this guy, and he is certainly capable of scoring plenty, as we've seen this season, with 12 goals in 20 appearances. So he's looking another good pick up front. Now another good pick is Vaclav Cerny of 20. He's got a contract with them till 2025. He's only 25 as well, actually. And as you can see, he's on absolutely fantastic form recently. Now his card, his rare card, I've had this card for probably about nearly 3 years now. I did pick him up when he was injured. It has been taking him a long time to get back from his injury and get back to his previous form. But now that's really paying off for me and my teams. Looking pretty good as well in terms of his price. And as you can see, this form is really creeping up. This graph is going up, 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 up. I think he's probably reaching his peak though. These 80s, 90s is what he's certainly capable of. He's also got a fairly decent AA game for a forward. And as you can see, he's pretty much ever present in the 20 team. He did start the season as a bit of a sub player, as you can see. Probably still coming back from that long injury layoff. Because he was injured for quite a number of months. As you can see here, he missed a number of game weeks. But before that, he was doing fantastic before his big injury layoff. And it's took him time to get back to match fitness. You can see this graph here is going up, up, up. So he's definitely a good option in your Sorare teams. So this season for 20, he's made 28 appearances, 25 as a starter, an average of 74 minutes. He's scored 10 goals and also got 8 assists as well, which is absolutely brilliant. He's also averaging 3 shots per game, 13 big chances created, 2.1 key passes. And the accurate passes per game is looking pretty good for a forward, like I say. And he's also chipping in with some tackles as well and winning possession as well for his team. We can see from this sofa score rating as well that this is showing he's coming back from his injury and really starting to get some minutes and form and fitness under his belt. If we look at these last couple of games here, so in this game here he had a really good number of passes. That's fantastic for a forward. 5 key passes as well, so that's looking really good. And in this game he's had 1 goal and 1 assist. He's had 4 shots in total, 23 accurate passes here and 3 key passes. So he's getting plenty of key passes. He's winning plenty of duels as well, as you can see. So he's looking a really, really good option, guys, for next season. Like I say, he has got a long contract with 20. So next in the bag and the final player, we've got Xavi Simons. He's only 20 and he also plays for PSV. He's got a contract with them till 2027 as well. You are going to be paying quite a lot for this player because, as we know, he is a huge talent. 6-7 for his limited and around 700 for his rare. He's had another good season for PSV with some really good scores for a 20-year-old. You have to remember this guy is only 20. Now, there has probably been some big clubs after him, so he could potentially move at some point. I think it's a little bit too early for him now. I think it's probably best off staying in the Dutch league for maybe another season. But as you can see, he's already getting these really good scores. Probably one of the best under-23 midfielders on Sorare. In this last game here against Ajax, actually, in a 3-0 win for PSV, which was a fantastic result for them, he actually got a goal in this game and an assist. So he was a key man in this victory. Let's have a quick look at the goal. So yeah, it's definitely a talent. It was from the penalty spot, but he did also win the penalty as well for the second goal for PSV. So this season he started 30 games, 15 goals in total, which is absolutely amazing really, considering he is only 20. 2.5 shots per game and 1.1 shot on target per game also shows his quality. Not only scored 15 goals, he also got 8 assists. This guy is a huge talent, guys. 11 big chances created and 1.8 key passes per game. And considering he's been playing in quite an advanced position, 26 accurate passes per game is also looking really impressive, with decent accuracy as well for attacking player at 82%. He's also winning 6.9 duels per game as well. So this guy really does have it all. He is only 20 as well. He's only just turned 20, guys, on the 21st of April. So that shows this guy's talent. And it's certainly a good roundup to this first Eredivisie Scouting. And this Scouting is going to be becoming regular now, guys. So thanks for watching. Let me know you like this video by hitting that like button below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one.